Have you ever seen someone walk away and at the same time, deep in your heart, realize that they would never find another you? It's a special sort of hurt, one that you feel not only in the immediate moment, but echoes in the stillness of your brain. Not because she bailed, but because she'll never acknowledge she was wrong. You poured your time, your energy, perhaps even your heart into her, and she behaves as if it didn't matter, as if you were a dime a dozen, as if she could toss you aside like a used paper towel. But what most men don't realize is that women don't regret their decisions immediately. Their pride, their ego, and confirmation from others protect them from it, at least for a time. They tell themselves they made the right choice, that they're moving on to better things, that they're moving on, period, without a second thought. But there is a turning point, a moment when the illusion dissolves. And when that happens, regret starts creeping in. The biggest error that most guys commit is forcing this moment, begging, texting, trying to find closure, hoping to get her back. But the fact of the matter is, regret is not born through words. It comes from absence. It comes in the realization that she no longer has access to you, that you've become the one thing she can't reach, can't control, can't affect anymore. That's what destroys her ego. Not your anger, not your sadness, but your utter, total indifference. And this is where Stoicism and dark psych come into play. Because the real strength is not in pursuing, it's in walking away without a second glance. A woman never regretted losing a man who breaks. She regretted losing a man who rises, the one who vanishes, glows up, and becomes something so much larger than she ever dreamed. By the end of this video, you will not be the man she walked away from. You will be the man she once loved, but never can again. If you feel ready for that metamorphosis, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and type in the comments section. The pain is the teacher of this moment, as every moment of suffering is a lesson, if you have the discipline to learn. Now, let's begin. Lesson number 1. The truth about women and regret. Love trinkets, even in the face of mistakes. It's not because they don't experience regret. It's because their ego won't let them admit it, at least not publicly. Society never fails to confirm to them that they did the right thing, that better is always out there waiting, that they should never look back. But here's the brutal truth. Regret doesn't come knocking. It creeps in silently. It churns in a time of loneliness, in late-night ruminations, in comparisons she promised herself she'd never make. After a breakup, most women feel validated. They get pity, concern, perhaps even fresh options. Their social milieu, their friendships, and their own self-righteousness all reinforce the idea that they've leveled up. But this is an illusion, because what really matters for regret isn't what occurs right after. It's what occurs later. The only way to make her regret your loss is to give her no evidence that she was right. No begging, no chasing, no validating her by remaining in the position of knowing that she has power over your feelings. You need to disappear, not out of revenge, but out of mastery. A woman can ask you to fall apart and instead see you flourishing in silence, and some will click within her. And a seed of regret is planted for a woman, that seed being doubt. And what is doubt but a cancerous creeping vine? You see, it's female psychology, which is therefore emotion-based. They live in the present, directed by how they feel rather than through logical consideration. And this is why detachment is so powerful. When you stop reacting, when you become a mystery, when you no longer feed her ego with your presence, that is when she starts to wonder. That is when she begins to regret. She'll never say it. She isn't going to text you and say she made the mistake. But your actions will say it all for you. You'll notice it in the way she checks up on your stories, in the way mutual friends bring up your name, in the way she attempts, like a kitten uncovered from dirt, to re-emerge slowly. But by then, it won't matter, because you will already be a winner. If this sounds like you, then like the video, subscribe, and comment below. Silence is my weapon, because when everyone around him is desperate for his validation, the man who simply disappears is the one who has all the power. 2. Why begging is the greatest weakness. The moment you beg, you lose. It's that simple. However, desperation is the quickest way to kill attraction, and it is the most common mistake men make. When a woman walks out, they beg for one more chance. They send long, passionate notes. They attempt to explain that she's making a mistake. But what they don't know is that her decision was already made in her own mind long before she left. When she leaves, she's had her heart out the door. And when you grovel, you only reinforce the idea that she was correct to move on. Just consider it. If a guy worth anything, if he truly believes in his worth himself, would ever need to chase after someone who didn't want him? Does a king beg for loyalty? A man who knows his value does not chase. He walks away and lets others realize what they lost on their own. When you beg, what you're really saying is, "You were right. I can't live without you. My happiness depends on you." That kind of weakness repels women. It doesn't make them reconsider. It makes them lose all respect for you. Because deep down, attraction isn't about logic. It's about power. And the moment you give her all the power, the game is over. But here's the secret most men never learn. The more silent you become, the more noise she hears in her own mind. She expects you to react. She expects you to fight for her. And when you don't, it disrupts her entire perception of you. The moment she realizes she isn't as important to you as she thought, that's the moment doubt begins to set in. So instead of chasing, you walk away. You give her nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not an emotional breakdown. Just silence. That's how you truly regain power. And if she ever comes back, it won't be because you convinced her. It'll be because she convinced herself. Now ask yourself, are you the man who begs or the man who lets them regret? If you're choosing power over weakness like this video, subscribe and comment below. I walk away like a king because kings do not beg. They simply move forward. Number 3, the Stoic's first move, emotional control. The moment she leaves, your first instinct is to react, to get angry, to prove something, to show her what she lost. But that's exactly what she expects. It's what weak men do, and weak men never change a woman's mind. The first move of a Stoic is simple. Control your emotions. This isn't about suppressing them. It's about mastering them. A weak man is controlled by his emotions. A strong man controls them. And when you control your emotions, you control the situation. Because the moment you stop reacting, she starts wondering. She expects you to chase, to call, to check in, to show jealousy. And when you don't, it disrupts her reality. Instead of confirming her decision, you make her question it. Instead of feeding her ego, you starve it. This is the power of emotional detachment. A woman never regrets losing a man who begs. She regrets losing the man she can no longer affect. She doesn't realize it at first, but when she sees you calm, unbothered, and thriving in silence, doubt creeps in. She starts wondering why you're so composed, why you're not broken. And that's when regret begins. But this only works if your emotional control is real. If you fake it while secretly hoping she comes back, she'll sense it. That's why true Stoicism isn't an act, it's a mindset. You detach from what you cannot control. You accept that people come and go, but your self-respect remains. And when you fully embrace that, you become untouchable. From this moment forward, you react to nothing. No desperate texts, no emotional outbursts, no proving your worth. Just silence and self-improvement, because a man who controls his emotions controls everything. If you understand this, like the video, subscribe and comment below. I master my emotions because the man who controls himself can never be broken. Number 4. The dark psychology of indifference. Nothing unsettles a woman more than indifference. Not anger, not sadness, not even revenge. Just complete, unwavering indifference. You see, when a woman leaves, she expects a reaction. She expects you to chase, to plead, to make her feel important, because in that moment, she believes she holds all the power. But the second you go completely silent, the dynamic shifts. The moment she realizes you are truly unbothered, her ego takes a hit. Indifference works because it creates uncertainty. She was so sure you'd miss her, that you'd crumble, that you'd fight for her. And when you don't, she starts questioning everything. Did I make the right choice? Why isn't he reacting? Did he ever care at all? These thoughts start to consume her. Psychologically, people desire what they cannot have. If you make yourself unavailable, if you show no need for her presence, her mind starts to reframe the situation. She goes from feeling superior for leaving to feeling uneasy about why you're not affected. That unease, over time, turns into regret. The biggest mistake men make is thinking anger is power. It's not. Anger still gives her a reaction. It still feeds her ego. But true indifference, that's what makes her feel invisible. And nothing destroys a woman's ego more than realizing she no longer holds space in your mind. So when she checks your stories, when she tries to get a reaction, when she subtly reaches out, do nothing. She isn't reaching out because she cares. She's reaching out to see if she still has control. The moment you engage, you lose. The moment you remain indifferent, she loses. If you understand this, like the video, subscribe and comment below. My presence is earned because the man who values himself does not grant access to those who walked away. Number 5. The power of rebuilding in silence. The most powerful transformation happens when no one is watching. While she thinks you're dwelling on the past, you are building your future. While she believes you're broken, you are becoming something greater. And by the time she realizes it, it will be too late. Most men waste their energy trying to prove something to their ex. They post pictures to make her jealous. They drop hints hoping she notices. But a true Stoic doesn't need validation. He disappears and improves in silence. No explanations, no announcements, just results. You see, regret isn't instant. It doesn't come when she first leaves. It comes when she sees you thriving without her, when she realizes she was just a chapter in your story, not the whole book. And the only way to make that a reality is to focus entirely on your own evolution. Work on your mind, your body, your purpose, the things that make you truly valuable, not to her, but to yourself. Because when a man is fully locked into his own growth, he becomes untouchable. And ironically, that's when women start to notice. The world rewards the man who moves forward without hesitation. And here's the truth. She's watching. Even if she doesn't reach out, even if she acts like she's moved on, even if she's with someone new, she's paying attention. And nothing will hit her harder than realizing she left a man who only became better after she was gone. So stop worrying about her. Stop wondering if she regrets it yet. Stop waiting for closure. Your success is the only closure you need. If you understand this, like the video, subscribe and comment below. I rise in silence because the strongest men do not seek revenge. They simply become impossible to ignore. Number 6. The inevitable return. Why she comes back. Women always come back, not because they miss you, but because they miss the power they once had over you. When you stop chasing, when you go completely silent, when you elevate yourself in ways she never expected, something shifts in her mind. She starts to wonder, starts to compare, starts to realize that you were the best thing she had. But now she can't reach you. At first, she convinces herself she's moved on. She surrounds herself with distractions, validation, maybe even a new man. But over time, reality sets in. The excitement fades, and suddenly she finds herself wondering, what is he doing? Does he even think about me? And here's the truth. Women crave what they can't have. They are drawn to mystery, to challenge, to the emotional uncertainty of not knowing where they stand with a man. And nothing creates more mystery than a man who vanishes without a trace and comes back as a completely transformed version of himself. This is why she always returns, when you no longer want her. The moment she feels that she lost her grip on you, her ego takes a hit. She might send a casual message. She might react to your posts. She might randomly ask mutual friends about you. But don't be fooled. She's not coming back because she's changed. She's coming back to test if you have. And this is where most men fail. They get excited. They think, she regrets it. She wants me back. But the truth is, she just wants to see if she still has access to your emotions. The moment you engage, the power shifts again, and if you fall for it, the cycle repeats. That's why the real test isn't whether she returns, it's whether you even care when she does. If you understand this, like the video, subscribe, and comment below. I am the prize because the man who knows his worth never questions whether someone else sees it. She wants me back. They respond immediately, engage in conversation, maybe even try to rekindle things. And the moment they do, she wins. She gets the validation she was looking for, and suddenly, her curiosity fades. But a man who has truly leveled up, he does not act. He does not entertain breadcrumbs. He does not allow someone who left him to waltz back in as if nothing happened. Because he understands that the real power is in indifference. So, what do you do when she reaches out? Nothing. You ignore it. Because a woman who truly regrets losing you will not send a weak, meaningless message. She will make it known that she wants another chance. And even then, it's not about what she tells you. It's about who you have become without her. If you choose to respond, your response must come from a totally detached place. Short, polite, unbothered, no emotion, no excitement, no effort. She must feel the shift. You have to let her see that you are no longer the man she left, but a man she cannot reach anymore. That's how you take the test. That is how you win. If you know this about yourself, like the video, subscribe and tell in the comment below, I do not chase, I attract. Because the man who holds the power over his worth never sacrifices it for anyone. Number 8. Outside her, crossing beyond to the unassailable man. By now, the question is no longer whether she regrets leaving. It's whether you even care anymore. The biggest mistake men make is that the second they can capture her attention again, they stop growing. They think, she's back, I've won. But power isn't about driving her to regret. It stems from becoming so focused on your own path that her regret means nothing. He is not ruled by the world and rather lives for himself and not those around him. He doesn't allow a woman to tell him what he's worth. He knows that relationships, emotions, even people are all ephemeral. His purpose, his discipline, his self-respect, though, those things endure. So, ask yourself, is she what makes you better, or are you getting better because that's who you are now? If you're just leveling up for her to notice you, you're still being manipulated by her. The real power is when your transformation is about you and has nothing to do with her. A man at this level doesn't need closure. He doesn't need validation. He has nothing to prove. Because he knows at the end of the day he was always the prize. And when a woman is aware of that, when she understands that you've become a man who is utterly undeterred by her absence, that is when she finally knows what she lost. But by then it won't matter, because you will have already gotten past it. If you get that, smash the like button, subscribe, and comment below. I am unshakable. For a man who controls himself will never be ruled by another. Number 9. The final lesson. She will deny it, but she does feel it. She will never say she regrets it. She will never publicly acknowledge that she was wrong. But deep down, she feels it. You see, women are experts in preserving their ego. Even if she realizes she lost a rare man, she won't give you the satisfaction of knowing. Instead, she'll pretend she's okay, pretend she's moved on, pretend you never cross her mind. But her actions will speak the truth. The way she mysteriously views your stories, the way she coincidentally bumps into you, the way she responds when she sees you doing well without her. Regret doesn't always have the words. It comes in silence, in hesitation, in forced indifference. And the greatest revenge? Not needing to hear it, because by then you're not the man she walked away from anymore. You now know you are enough, and you don't get your validation from the people who left. You no longer await closure, explanations, a sign that she still cares. You don't need it. The real victory was not in making her regret. It's in arriving at a place where her regret has no meaning for you. And that's what wounds her ego the most. She will never admit it, but she will feel it. By the time she finally does, you'll have already moved on to something bigger. If this resonates, like the video, subscribe and set in the comments below. I already won. Because the dude who walks away and never looks back is the dude who always wins. At this junction, you also have a choice. You can remain stuck in the past, fixated on what used to be, waiting for her to return. Or you can move on, remembering that you were always the prize. The truth is that this was never about her. It was about you, about your discipline, your emotional control, your growth into a man who cannot be ruffled by loss. A man who requires no validation, who doesn't crack under pressure, who screams about people who walked away. Because the real flex isn't having her pull out her hair, so strong, so focused, so whole in yourself that her regret is irrelevant. And at that point, life starts to reward you. More opportunities, new connections, new levels of success. All of which were on hold as long as you stood attached to yesterday's. It means if you are here, it's because you have decided to walk past the pain. Prepare to be a man respected, not be a man chased. One that walks away like a fucking king. So if you want to be part of this journey, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you could get the next best stuff ahead of your competition. And comment below, I do not look back. The man who keeps going never loses, he only gains. Until we meet again, be brave, be clever, and keep your feet moving.